Hey guys, this is MattiAce. This video is going to be about something that a lot of people find very frustrating, and that is getting into the air gameplay of Planetside 2. And it's going to be from the ESF point of view. Now, due to the way ESFs handle, it takes a while to learn how to control them, and that is one of the first problems that a lot of players are struggling with in the beginning while trying to learn how to fly. But the flight mechanics is only part of the problem, and sometimes I get the feeling that a lot of people put almost all their focus on the flight mechanics and the skill gap between experienced pilots who already know these mechanics and new pilots who have to learn it. Now, reading the feedback from my own videos and the forum and Reddit threads, I'm starting to get the feeling that there is a lot more of a psychological problem than an actual game problem. And once we spawn our ESF, we want to get as many kills as possible before dying or losing our ESFs. That's in the nature of the game. What you need to keep in mind when it comes to flying in Planetside 2 is that the air gameplay has, ever since beta, been extremely emotionally loaded, whether or not it's you flying or whether or not you are at the receiving end of especially an ESF. There is a lot of people who get really angry if you kill them from the air, and what I've come to realize is that the same kind of frustration has a tendency to carry over when an inexperienced pilot is trying to learn how to fly.
Oh shit, there's a sight on me.
Side, yeah. Two sides.
Two sides.
And look on nukes, of course.
So now being attacked the way you saw me being attacked right there is something that I hear a lot of new pilots expressing their frustration about, because it's so hard to handle and you are just most likely going to go down. Now let me assure you, once you are an experienced pilot, you are going to be attacked a lot more. And if you, like in my case, are also well known from YouTube, then the amount of how much you're going to get attacked is going to be yet even a lot worse. Now this is a typical situation where it makes a big difference whether or not you have a lot of experience flying or not. Now an inexperienced pilot would instantly just die from that kind of attack. However, if you were an inexperienced pilot, you are not as likely to be attacked by, for example, ults coming from another server as someone with a similar experience as me, for example. Now in Planetside 2, you just die a lot. That's in the nature of the game, and if you want to stay alive, then there is a lot you have to sacrifice and a lot you have to adapt to in the game in order to do so. And the thing about it is that dying as an ESF pilot can be a completely wasted experience, but it can also be a very valuable learning experience. Now the same thing is a little bit different if you're able to stay alive for, let's say, 20 minutes, especially if you're new to flying. Because in order to learn something, you have to actually get into the action, and by doing so, eventually you're going to go down. And once this happens, once you die, once you lose your ESF, that's when you need to take a moment, take a breath, and think, what actually happened? How could I have done that better? And what do I need to practice in order to improve so that I will be more successful the next time something similar happens? And this is when the virtual reality area becomes invaluable. Try to remember what actually happened when you died or when you failed something, and focus at that. Was it something about the handling? Were you unable to maneuver the way you wanted to? Well, if that's the case, there are plenty of tutorials that will help you improve by showing you what it is you actually need to practice. I have several on my channel, but if you are in a situation like this where you are being ganked by like 5 sites and some of them have lock-ons, nothing that me or anyone else can teach you will make you able to fight that and survive it, at least not on your own. A lot of experienced pilots get criticized for lacking perspective when it comes to understanding what it's like for new pilots getting into the air game. But I can assure you, that goes both ways. Because as I mentioned earlier, once you get experienced and once you make a name for yourself, you are going to be targeted many times more. And one of the clearest indications that you've reached the level where people really start noticing you is like this: if even friendlies start following you around when you're flying. Now to me this happens every day, so you can imagine how enemies react. And even though this has more to do with my YouTube channel than anything else, you have to realize that the more experience you gain and the better you get, the more people will actually start shooting back at you, at least in a lot of situations. Now the thing of it is that no matter what playstyle you prefer, you're still gonna have to learn it, and with your learning experience, there is a lot of failure involved. That's just how it is. For one person to get a kill on an enemy ESF, another ESF has to go down. It's the same as with every other aspect of the game. And even though the difference in skill between a very experienced pilot and a new pilot is probably a lot bigger than in many other parts of the game, no matter what you do, no matter how you play, you're still gonna have to learn it. For me, I need several hundred kills for every new weapon I try out before I feel comfortable with it, sometimes even up to 1,000. But to most players and in most playstyles, you are not going to take more damage than anyone else in the game, but that doesn't go for the air gameplay. Here, the top pilots knows each other's, and it makes a big difference if you go from being a relatively unknown pilot to one of the aces. Anyway, I really hope this video inspires you to try again and practice more if you feel like giving up. You're most likely going to fail several times, you're most likely going to be very frustrated from time to time, and you are with all certainty going to die. But maybe, if you're lucky, you're going to experience the fun in the air gameplay of Planetside 2 one of these days. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and bye for now.
BNC are down one Reaver.
Conglomerate Reaver spotted.